So with a celebration of arts in Cornwall for this time of year, we are creating a fantastic display that celebrates arts, horticulture and the market gardens of the Tamar Valley. And so what we're going to do is put together and show you this celebration of the produce that comes out of this part of the world and the fantastic artistry produced in this part of Cornwall. So what we're trying to represent here is a celebration of sort of our hedgerows, our market gardens. So we've harvested foliage from our local environment sustainably to sort of dress this beautiful painting that's been done for us. And we're going to, in here, put an array of flowers that represent this part of the world, primarily from colours and those that are very, very fond, things such as hydrangeas. It's also May and a real big celebration of flowers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to dress this initially with this beautiful foliage, and that's going to be our backbone. So we're going to dot that through and around the display and then bring in the flowers after. So what we're doing here is we're trying to mimic nature, to give that sort of feel of the lush green of Cornwall. And this is anything anyone can do in their back garden really, if you want to have a play. We're just poking this randomly, and this is to try and create the scene. So what we're doing is, if you can see from here, these are the two sides of the valley. And what we're going to do is run flowers and vegetables as that symbol. So we're creating the landscape with this sort of foliage. So you're just sort of plonking it into sort of, imagine these as sort of your trees of the space. So just continue poking your foliage around, and so you're sort of building up this frame that's enchanted and dramatic. So we've got the lovely gorse that grows everywhere in this part of the world. Spiky little number. So what we've done is we've set our backdrop there of our sort of local foliage, and foliage is really king in representing this part of the world and this time of year. So this creates our structure with the art that you see celebrating the artistry of Cornwall, and the foliage and hedgerows with the bank and as the foliage you can see. So we're now going to bring in sort of colours of blue and yellow and pink, which we very much see this time of year. So with the market gardens, we're celebrating that production of this valley. The valley is very famous for supplying places such as Covent Garden historically with produce, and being the earliest for strawberries, cut flowers as well. And it's very much known hydrangeas grow in abundance down here. So all of these things and the colours of the hedgerows and the produce that we produce, this very much symbolises that split in the valley and the abundance of fun and colour that comes from this part of the world. So with this, we start with our tallest flowers first, starting at the back, to bring down and represent that idea of sort of bluebells and foxgloves. And we've gone for some sort of classics as the delphinium and the lupin, very much something we grow in our market gardens. And what we're going to do is we're going to start them at the back on one side, and they're going to mix into the foliage. And what's really great is the foliage really helps to hold them in place when they're in a sort of an outside setting. And it takes a bit of fiddling, so it's not the quickest, but you are literally pointing these into these spaces. And we should hopefully get a really lovely sort of natural looking effect. And the great thing with using plants in pots opposed to cut is this is something that can really hold up and be a display that moves around quite happily. These lovely tall blue delphiniums, and as you can see, they've been matched perfectly to the painting that's been done for the arts of the environment that we're in. So as you start placing, playing with those heights, and you're going up in sort of a pyramid shape. We will have a little bit of fiddle with foliage, I think, in a minute, just to tidy up some of the lupins. So I'm sort of starting with the purple at the back, because I think it's the darkest colour, so it's the one that I think really adds that effect. And then we start bringing in sort of the primrose yellow to represent sort of the primulas of the environment we're in. And like, who doesn't love a lupin? So this is a nice short one, so with a lovely foliage, so I'm going to bring that in and hopefully wedge it into the front there. Just take those moments to step back and make sure you're dressing the edges, like that. Here at Merryhue as well, we produce a lot of our own things, and these beautiful horse chestnuts are produced by Andy, who's over here on the side. Let's bring his face in. And we have an abundance of lots of things that we're growing, and very much we want to represent all those things that we're growing through the market garden schemes. And what beautiful foliage, and I think we don't use foliage enough when we're organising or representing the landscape. And I think tree production is such an important element of our world. I think we should be representing them a bit within what we do. Creating our little trees through the valley. Yeah, I think you can go there. Right. So now I'm going to bring in some hydrangeas. Who doesn't love a blousy bloom? You know, what a fantastic plant to celebrate British Flower Week, but also a fantastic plant to celebrate Cornwall. You know, everyone that lives here, these things grow in abundance and grow so well, and what a cracking bloom. So we're just having a place of those through that wheel. There we go, it's in. And I think if we bring some of the blue in to represent sort of the river itself through the valley, and just, you know, have that little play. I need to find something. Just going to wedge that with a bit of soil. So it just take a bit of propping to do this. So sometimes we just need to prop up the pots just to get the level right. There is a perfect spot for some of this beautiful teasel. Again, we don't give enough credit to dry foliage, and this grows quite in abundance in Cornwall. So with the market gardens, we are producing a huge amount of leafy lettuce, something again grown in huge abundance here. A great plant to decorate your garden as well as being an edible crop. And it wouldn't be a display of Cornwall and the Tamar Valley and market gardens if we didn't have the humble strawberry. Humble strawberry being a very key feature historically of this part of the world, and being the first strawberries that would go up to market to feed the restaurants of London traditionally. And the lovely Aquilegia, again, a great flower for this time of year. I think celebrating that real magic. And like everything, it's always raining in Cornwall, which makes it so easy to grow such great stuff. This is a fantastic heliotrope. So trying to represent the abundance of water within this part of the world. Really good, grows very well down here if you want to put it in your garden. Just don't let it get too waterlogged. And pelargoniums grow in abundance everywhere. I think we have to celebrate the botanical heritage of this part of the world and just the diversity of the climate and just how much we can grow and what makes our market gardens, horticulture and art so successful, and the fantastic lighting of the southwest. Great place for artists, as you can see, to produce such beauty. Again, another great food source and flowers. There's a nasturtium grown here at Merryhue. It's part of our market garden projects. A little slow this year with the cold weather, but we're getting there. And the humble hosta. Those slugs love it. Great leafy plant, grows very well down here, and you can eat the shoots. A great plant to help when you're doing these displays is moss, and it grows in abundance here. We responsibly source, and it's a fantastic floristry material, and really good for holding water, which is not a problem on a day like this. So you're just going to dress the edge with that, and that's really helping to sort of set the scene of our valley. And then the tumbling hills with the lovely ivy, the great resource in this part of the world. Foliage is king. And you're just going to poke those in. A mixture of greens and variegation to really pop against the different items that you're using. And what we're really trying to show here is not just foliage and flowers, but leaf and edibles. There we go. I think finishing it off with beautiful caramel coleus and again some lovely little ivy plants. There we go. I think rain, wind, sunshine very much represents this part of the world. It's a celebration of British Flower Week, but also the primary focus, a celebration of our market garden project, bringing produce to those who need it and connecting people back to the plate, but also a celebration of art in the valley.